How's it going, y'all? Welcome back to the Guild Podcast. If you're watching or listening to this on May 1st, 2023, today is my 11th wedding anniversary with my wife, and we are super excited. I just wanted to make this episode and talk about habits, because habits is something that helps formulate or fortify your character in your relationship, in your friendship. So this is kind of like a love series episode. I like to talk about relationships, love, and I figured habits is one of the main components of a relationship, like the habits you have with your wife, or the habits you have with yourself, the habits you have with your husband. It's very vital to the lifespan of a relationship. So let's jump right into it. So let's look up the word habit. So habit is a custom pattern, routine, style, convention, policy. So that's basically something that you are ended up doing, and it doesn't have any negative or positive connotation, but we like to put some negative connotations on there. You got a bad habit of, you're saying yes to people. You got a bad habit of, and just the word habit. So we kind of like drop the no. And when we see the word, or me at least, when I see the word habit, I automatically apply that invisible no to it. It's like a silent no to the word habit. And I see people online, I see people on Twitter talking about bad habits. And if you doing something over and over and over again, it becomes a habit, good or bad. And just like in a relationship, if you're continuously dismissive to your partner, if you're continuously dismissive to just signs, from your body, that's a bad habit. You're not being, what's the word I'm looking for? You don't care. And one habit I see in a lot of relationships, a lot of my friends and peers and whatnot, is people having a habit of not having empathy. So when you start your relationship with someone, you formulate a habit. Me in particular, I would text my wife every morning. Good morning, babe. Good morning, love. Good morning, whatever nickname I had for her at the time, Amethyst, Diamond. I'd call her something. I'd probably write a cheesy poem, a cringy poem. I was reading some messages that I used to leave her on Facebook, and it was just the most cringiest, weirdest thing ever. But that was a habit, and I would come up with jokes and just make her laugh. She would have a rough day at work, so I knew, okay, when it's the weekend, she's kind of busy at work and she's having a rough day. So, stop by and give her some food or drop off her favorite meals and whatnot, hang out with her at her lunch break. And that was just something that we did and that I continuously did. And it became my manner. It became my policy, if you will, to just communicate with my wife, because the intention was communicating with her, understanding her, to learn and fortify our relationship, and me forming a habit that I'm okay with, that I can continuously do, that doesn't impede me, doesn't get in my way of being myself, and it doesn't like create a false identity. Because if you're creating a habit to try to impress a woman or impress a man, you can kind of tend to just start sewing and making a paper mache mask for yourself. And then you are dating this woman or this man over years and years, and you have to keep up this habit. So you put on this mask of who you are. And what ends up happening is this habit of trying to keep your partner happy. It's exhausting, because it's not you. It's not the real you. So every time you're trying to keep this person happy or be that person for your partner, it's not 100%. And then sometimes the mask falls and your partner sees you for who you really are, or for sees you for the very first time, and they're repulsed. They're like, what is this? Who are you? What is going on? You've changed. But you've never changed. You just had this habit of putting on this mask for your partner. So don't do that. Communicate. Find out what your partner wants. And it's like the most annoying thing ever. Like, I hate saying it's all about communication, but it really is. It's really all about communication. I just I can't really even express it. Communicating it's super key. Um, because if you don't communicate with your partner, you don't really know them. So you start to fill in the blanks of what they like, what they don't like. And that's not really the way to go. Another bad habit that a lot of people have is actually just ignoring the problems, being passive. Me and my wife, when something is wrong, like when we were dating, we didn't really have anything. It's more so like, I don't owe her anything. She doesn't owe me anything. We weren't really living together. I was living with my parents. She was living with her mom. So it's like, yeah, we could have a good time, but I don't know where this is going. You don't know where this is going. So it's like when there were problems, just kind of just let it go. But when we became serious and I got my first apartment and she moved in, I wasn't letting things slide, nor was she. She's like, hey, you're putting a stop to that now. Hey, I don't like this. Hey, do this. Hey, when this happens, I want this done. And I was like, why? Why do you? Oh, I just don't like this. And I was like, okay, cool, perfect. When I have friends over, I said, hey, can you just say hi to my friends when they come over? And she'll be like, don't bring your friends over. But slowly but surely, she started to understand, oh, crap, you're a people person. And my wife is not a people person. She hates people. So what ended up happening was we had a compromise situation where I like people and people like me. You hate people, but people like you. So let's do this thing where I get to hang out with my friends in my studio space. This is like before the pandemic. Everybody was here. I used to just hang out with everybody in this room, and it was great. But my wife had to understand, this is what makes me happy. I like people, and she likes to make me happy. So what ended up happening was that was a trade-off. Let her know when I'm having friends over, and she will be here, do her thing, say hi and bye. But as long as she knows when they're here, when they're coming, when they're leaving, it's perfectly fine. It's just all about communication. I was not ignoring the problem there. I saw that she was annoyed by some friends. She was annoyed by some family members that would come up to our old apartment or this house. And I said, well, I'm not going to ignore that. What bothers you about that? Oh, I just don't like people. I just don't. So, all right, cool. Well said. So I need people for my business. Networking is the way that I kind of, pay some of these bills, doing photography, doing podcast production. Even though I work full time, a lot of the majority of our income comes from, creating content for people. So those were conversations that we had, and we kind of just had this habit when there's something iffy or funny, we just go ahead and say, whoa, what's going on here? Are we good? No, I don't really think so. I don't know. It kind of bothered me when this happened, and this is how you responded. I didn't like how you said that. Oh, shoot. Well, thanks for telling me, because now next time I will move in the right direction. So I feel like, just again, communication is just one of those words that you just have to make sure that everybody's on the same page and formulate that habit. So before I get to the next one, communication is the habit that everybody needs to jump on. Everybody needs to start communicating. Everybody needs to start being honest with themselves. One habit that I've seen a lot is disrespectful and I guess like a disrespectful habit with your partner. I've seen men do it. I've seen women do it, where their partner is in a situation and they say something to try to embarrass them, to belittle them. My wife is my best friend. I love her to death. We can be, having a dispute, or disagreement, but the idea of belittling her and disrespecting her in front of people or just at home, it's wild. Because this is somebody that I really love. This is somebody that has and will always be there for me in this life and the next. And it's just so weird how people are disrespecting their partners online. I seen this video on Twitter where this guy was, what was he doing? He came from work. He got off work. Let me pull it up.
After 13-hour shift.
So you need to tell me I just pulled a 13-hour shift. And I ain't got no food to come home to? Huh?
Why do you think somebody went home? Why you always just waiting for your red because it?
Look,
There's a few things as far as like habits go. This is a habit. This is him doing this before. That's why she mentioned, why are you doing this for your cousin? And obviously she is not bothered by it, not surprised. That's why she's just standing in the kitchen eating a sandwich. That's what it kind of looks like. But him just recording her like that and speaking in a scripted tone, saying something like that he wouldn't say ever if there wasn't a camera there. That's a habit. He seemed like a professional in a way, in the sense of, and also like saying professional in the sense of like he's done this plenty of times and finally it hit. Now he's gone viral and now I'm talking about him. Cool. But what I noticed was that he kept just saying, I worked a 13-hour shift. I worked a 13-hour shift. A lot of people work 13-hour shifts. And I've worked plenty of 13-hour shifts. I think I worked one maybe this week. I'm not going to my wife and begging her to make me food. It's not the end of the world. I kind of feel like this is just some weird habit where people are trying to make their relationship issues and throw it on social media and let people deal with it, or let people tell their partner that, yeah, I told you you were wrong. I let the internet, 1,000 people who don't know me and you, dictate if I'm right or you're wrong, which is crazy. One other thing that I want to talk about this video, because it kind of gets a little bit longer. It's not that long, but I kind of feel like you get the gist. He's just complaining about he worked 13 hours and he basically is demanding food, or not demanding, he expected there to be food. And how about, communicate? Oh my God, communicate. Here we go again. Hey, love, how's it going? I'm getting off soon. You probably don't know that. I've been here for like 13 hours. It's crazy. How are you? Did you eat anything? I don't know. I've been gone for a whole afternoon, a whole day essentially. Do you need anything since you work from home? That's what in the other part of the video. You probably were like tending to other needs of the house, like cleaning, doing laundry. Do you want me to get anything while I'm out? It's not that hard. And there's like so many compounding things that happens where you form a habit of complaining. You form a habit of showcasing that your partner isn't shit. I don't want to go home and argue. I don't know what he does for a living. But to work 13 hours, you probably have to be doing something, rigorous. He could be a doctor. He could be a doctor cutting open people and doing C-sections and whatnot. But it doesn't matter what it is. You signed up for that. There was plenty of times within that day, that night that you were working, you could have said, this is enough for me. I need to go. It's just sad that people are just putting their intimate moments on social media for entertainment. It's disgusting. Let me finish it, actually.
I just pulled a 13-hour shift. You being my wife, I pay all the bills in here.
All the dishes clean, your clothes clean. Why? What?
If you don't fix me no lunch for my job.
There's also probably another part here where he said, you don't fix me a lunch for my job. Maybe there's a dude named Greg at his job that his wife fixes him food, or maybe the guy's like, well, your wife doesn't make you food, and he probably just feels a bit out of place or feels unworthy. Communicate. You're gonna have to communicate. Don't do this. This is the opposite of communication. It's all about the intent. He didn't intend to fix the situation. He intended to go viral. That's just sad, and that's a horrible habit.
You come from all that. I can't come home to a full cooked meal.
All right, I'm done with this. This is stupid. I can't believe I did one of these. This is like a reaction video, but it's on the podcast. It's just sad. One other habit that can really do a number on any relationship is intimacy, touch. I was reading something. My wife texted me something about you are supposed, as an adult, you need to get at least 8 hugs a day. I thought it was pretty interesting, and I asked her, where are we on the hugging, intimate, touching scale? And she said we're off the charts. Like, every time I see her, I hug her, embrace her, touch her, kiss her. It's just because I want to. And that's just my habit, because it's all about intent. If I intend to make her feel loved and appreciated, that's what my intentions are. And you can feel that. But if I'm doing it for the science, I heard it on TikTok that if you get hugged 8 times a day, your spirits will be better. Look, I'm hugging you. It's not. The intent is the same, sort of, but it's just for not the same reasons. Like, you should want to do it because you want to do it, if that makes sense. Not because, Men's Health magazine said you have to do it. It's just a weird thing. But intimacy, touching, hugging, kissing, rubbing, licking, it adds an extra layer of just a new form of communication, to the point where you can communicate with your partner just by touching, looking, and just a simple touch can say a lot. But I highly recommend just building that habit, starting that habit. So I think, even though I wanted to make this podcast about habits, it kind of just became a podcast about, hey, communication. That's what it really boils down to. Communication and intentions. It's nothing more than that. Just, you got to be able to communicate with your partner. I remember when me and my wife were dating, and I would just wake up, go somewhere, and just disappear. Like, I was weird before we got married. I was still a child. It's like 21, 22. I would just wake up and just disappear. Go running, go to the gym, go somewhere. And that's what I've always done. Like, if I wanted to do something, I just get up and drive, don't tell anybody. I'm surprised I didn't go missing. Like, if I went missing as a kid, nobody would know where I'm at. Like, I would just be somewhere. I used to just drive to Orlando for no reason when I got a car. I would just drive to Port St. Lucie. Like, these are far places in Florida. I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Deerfield area, and Orlando's maybe 4.5 hours away. I would just drive there just to go, or just drive somewhere far to think, to write, just weird shit. And when I got married with my wife, I would just do that. And she's like, where'd you go? And this is before, iMessage. I mean, iMessage was here. Or I don't think technology was what it was. If I was gone somewhere for a couple hours, my phone died, there's no way for her to get in contact with me other than me getting on, bringing my laptop if I brought it, and then emailing her or hitting her up on Google Voice and saying, hey, I'm here. But I stopped that habit because it was communicated to me that it terrifies her that she wakes up, I'm gone. I'm not downstairs. I'm not, in the living room playing Xbox. I'm gone. The car is gone. I'm gone. And it's not a fear of abandonment. It's just a fear of, because that's what I thought it was. I'm like, oh, you're just scared of me abandoning you. That's you gotta learn how to deal with that. I'm not leaving you. And then she's like, no, you're a big black man just running around here like you're not who you are. You're Gil, of course, but that's all you see. You see Gil as this entity, but the world doesn't see you that way. The world sees you as a threat. And I was like, the fuck are you talking about? And that was her fear. And to mitigate that fear, get rid of that fear, I just would communicate to her, hey, I'm going here. I'm doing a photo shoot here with these people. Even like the other day, I filmed the podcast, and I told her, hey, here's the address. We normally film in one room. I said, here's the door number for this room, just to ease her mind, just to have her calm and relaxed. And it's all about communication. Now, if she were to not communicate that to me, if I was not receptive to that, it could have caused a huge rift in the relationship, because she would be upset every single time she wakes up, I'm gone. Or if I don't communicate to her, like, hey, I'm going running tomorrow morning. Hey, I'm going to the gym with this person tomorrow morning. Hey, I'm going to the Keys for like a couple hours, and I'll come back later tonight with this person. It's now I understand why she doesn't want me to do that. So I do it. But also it was another point for me to be like, hey, I'm no longer a solo guy. I have a co-op. I can't run solo anymore. I can't run solo. I have a partner. And I had to get rid of that bad habit of doing things my way and remembering to incorporate her whenever I'm doing something. Hope y'all enjoyed this episode. It's a pretty short one. I wanted to announce this. I dropped the book. There we go. It's a photography word search book, and it has 250 words. I even included a glossary. Yeah, I included a glossary. That way, if you found the word that's interesting, or you've never, saw it, you can go ahead and learn what that word is. It's on Amazon, or you can just go to gildormius.com/book, and it'll take you right there, and you can purchase the book. I'll also tag it in the description down below. I have another something else that's coming later in the year, so stay tuned for that. And if you want to stay in the know about my next projects, this book, the next, check out my newsletter. My newsletter, I try not to annoy you. I have so much cool stuff happening and going on, so check it out. It is you just go to gildormius.com/newsletter, and it'll take you right there. I'm gonna tag everything in the description, and be sure to do me a favor here. Have a nice day. Promise that you have a nice day. All right, I'll see you on the next podcast or video. Peace.